Hey, Kliq This fans, want to get closer to the show than ever? Join Kliq This TV. Kliq This TV offers early commercial-free access to wrestling's hottest podcast, plus live audience tapings of their show every friggin' week. Head to kliqthistv.com now and get inside the show that's just too sweet.
The following podcast contains mature language and adult discussion.
Kev, I think it's unfair that you're getting summer already, and
summer, fuck,
Jesus, I cannot get out of this. Couldn't get out of the 60s at all this week. Rain, cold rain, not rain, cold rain.
I got my first day in Germany. I got the cold rain, and now I've got bronchitis.
Now you got that right.
Yeah, I got that going for me.
Well, Kevin was in. If you don't follow him on Instagram or the socials, he did a lovely trip to Europe, a long-planned trip that finally got off the ground with his lady.
It was supposed to be, so we went for my son's 18th birthday to Europe, and we did London, and we did Paris, and we did Munich. And the last day in Munich, we were supposed to go to Newschfeinstien, but his girlfriend caused a bunch of shit, and he wanted to go home, so we ended up just canceling the last day of Germany and not going to Rome. And so we said that we were going to do this, and then COVID hit, and then one thing after another between my wife's hip and my back, and so finally we finished the in honor of T, we finished the tour. So
can't do Europe with a bad hip, a bad back, a bad anything if you've got to steady yourself because of you got to walk.
Yeah, it's cobblestones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you're walking places that are BC. I'm not saying before cement either. It's like before Christ. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah. But you did it. You got out there. What's the castle? You've talked about it before.
Newschfeinstien.
Okay.
It's the castle that Walt Disney basically made the Disney castle.
Modeled the Cinderella's castle. That's right.
Except I think it's probably the Disney castle's probably got actually less of a facade than the one in Germany.
A little bit, but it costs a lot less to get to the one in Germany than to spend any time at the Cinderella's, I guess. Yeah. Now the flight, Kevin. I would imagine is. I'm much smaller than you, and the 9 hours or whatever the hell it took me to get to Italy overnight was rough.
Well, the thing is now is Delta has this thing called Delta One, and it's like
It's like Air Force One?
No, just Delta One. It's It's their first class.
Oh! I thought it was a special plane.
No,
from Qatar maybe or something.
It's but you have. So you sit in a box basically, and you have not only a seat belt, but you've got a shoulder harness, and you've got and you have a door that you can pull shut. So, yeah.
Is that what I'm looking at? Okay.
Yep. So you can pull that door shut, and look at the width of that chair.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to be much bigger than a first class chair, Kev, right? Am I wrong?
It's not. It's the fold out dimensions were 70 74 inches. That's 6'2". Then and it tapers down to the yeah, like that was me right there, except and that was Tamara next to me. She could go flat. That's about what I could do.
So now what I'm looking at here, her legs are under what? The seat in front of you?
No, it's like a, yeah, I mean.
It's got to extend beyond that wall, obviously. Right. Either that or she.
Yeah, it's underneath, but like that, it's if you have size 12 feet, you can probably like lay on your back and have your feet straight up.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
It goes under the seat. I was gonna say either or she got amputated at the check-in. So yeah, so you're not gonna fit that.
No, it was miserable. I fell asleep out of exhaustion for maybe an hour and a half. So we did 2 shows Wednesday night. I got up Thursday and packed. I got up at 8 a.m. and packed till 11:30, and we caught a 2:00 flight, and I got no sleep, so and then we landed. So when we land in Munich, and they have the situation where you park out in the tarmac someplace, and the bus comes and gets you, which is very common in Europe. But they've been doing that in Heathrow forever. So we go out, we get on the bus, and they're trying to jam us in like it's a Japanese subway station. Yeah. And this guy is telling this guy, half English, half German, like he needs to push in. And there's like this old, like 75-year-old lady he's trying to make room for. And behind us is a bus that's completely empty. And it was just one of those things where the guy was, and of course I can't keep my mouth shut. So I'm like, the guy, I said like loud enough for everybody to hear. Like I just said, "Fucking really?" And the guy makes eye contact with me that he's telling to move, and he looks at me like, he shrugs his shoulders, and I gave him the look like, no, like, dude, like you just paid bank, like, give the guy the big boot and let's go. So we drive up to baggage claim, and most baggage claims are kind of set up like a NASCAR track. And there's either a thing on both ends that kind of dump it, but it's a round circle. We get to Munich, it's set up like a Formula One track. You can't keep your eye on a bag.
Because of the turn?
Yeah, it goes underneath. It's like crossing like a figure 8. And so I've got a Toomey bag, and Tamara's got a Toomey bag, and they're these new. They're not the newest one, but they're the probably 3 years old.
Would they run you?
Oh, I think $1,000 a piece.
Okay.
Maybe 1,100. I don't know.
Just wanted to get that on record in case Gucci beanies come up today. All right, good.
Yeah. So Tamara got the silver one first, and then it got just completely annihilated with black marks because it was silver. So she ordered a black one, and then I said, well, I'll just take the silver one because I travel all the time. It's going to get beat to shit anyway. So I'm waiting, and lo and behold, here comes my bags, the silver to me. So I grab it and I put it down on the ground, but I always check the baggage claim numbers because there is always a chance that somebody could have the same bag.
Sure.
Well, as soon as I lay it down, it says Delta Silver. And I said, I'm Delta Diamond. This isn't my bag. So I put it back on the thing. he goes around. You know, it takes like 5 minutes for this, you know, bag to make its way back around. So I see the bag again. I pick it up again. And at this point, people are leaving with bags. And I look at it and I'm like, it's the same bag. So now I'm like, so I'm sitting next to Tamara and I'm like, and she's got her bag. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm like, my bag is not here. I'm the only person. And out of the corner of my eye, I look, and there's like a 70-something-year-old guy with that bag, and he's dragging it. And he's about to turn the corner to nowhere land. So I get up, jolt over to him. I said, yo, dude, you got my bag? He says, no, I don't. I said, yeah, you do have my bag. I said, your bag's on the, he says, and how would you know that? I walk up to him, I flip the baggage thing over. I said, are you Diamond? He goes, no. I said, well, I said, obviously, I said, the one that says Delta Silver is still going around the I said, if you would have been conscious enough to check the bag before you just picked it up. And so Tamara, as he goes back, I want to make sure that he gets his bag. I don't want to, you know. So I pull my bag back with him, and he, you know, his bag comes around, and if he was going to have a hard time with it or something, I was going to pick it up for him, but he didn't have a hard time with it. But Tamara talks to his wife. She has more Louis Vuitton. The wife has more Louis Vuitton than the Mall of Millennium has in the Louis Vuitton store. And she's telling my wife that they're going on a Viking riverboat. So that motherfucker would have got my bag and got it because he'd have been on that boat.
That'd have been the end of that.
I'd have been 2 days into that vacation, and I'd be going home because it ain't like I can buy shit off the rack.
Yeah,
and I can go 1 day commando, and that's it. I mean, I'm done. So almost a disaster, like out of the chute. And I should have known. Like that's, you know, I believe in like, you know, signs, and that was one. So.
Well, a sign that the entire trip was going to be a challenge?
Yes.
All right. So you get in, you get the bag. How far are you from lodging at this point at the airport?
40 kilometers from like downtown Munich to the airport.
All right, not too bad.
Like 22 miles, whatever
Right.
that is.
So you get in. How are the accommodations?
Fantastic. We got a 2-bedroom suite. It's got hardwood floors. Look like a New York loft.
Okay.
So yeah, really nice.
How much had Germany changed since you were there last? You said Berlin?
Yeah, no, we were in Munich.
Munich.
I did a signing. I've done 2 signings in the last 8 years.
Oh.
You know, so I mean, I've been back.
How much of the language do you speak from when you lived over there?
It's amazing. I think nothing until I get there.
And then you have to, and it comes to you.
Well, yeah, then it's embedded in my brain where if a guy turns to me and I say in English something to him, and he just gives me the, I don't know what you're saying, then I go into, you know. So it's always funny that when you butcher somebody else's language bad enough, and they know that the point you're making, they automatically start speaking like much better English.
Because you made an effort.
Yeah, I guess.
You tried.
Yeah.
So they'll try back for you in English.
So
Germany was. Tamara's looking forward to this.
Yeah, she really wanted to go to the castle.
Yeah.
So we went to Marlineplatz or whatever it is. It's the big center of Munich on Friday. Was it Friday? Yeah, it's Friday. And Marienplatz. And went to the Ruck Cellar. It's a really nice restaurant that's there. It's underneath. So we went down and we just had we had a really good day. Huge people watching. I watched two Muslim girls in burqas that were like just slits, and they both were standing there with ice cream cones
Under the thing, right?
Well, they were standing with like the ice cream cone in front of them, and then they would take it
Yeah.
and lift it up, and you could see their whole face. And it was
Oh, they would lift the thing up to eat the ice cream?
out,
Yeah.
like out, And then, so I looked at Tamara. I said, Tamara, I said, like, don't stare. I said, but like, it seems to me like that's not allowed. Like that doesn't look like it's almost like, I mean, I could see both their faces.
Yeah. I think for ice cream though, in the Quran, if you
I don't know. I'm not
get a
that versed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not that versed, but
Okay, so
the next day,
yeah.
we have a 7 o'clock. We have a tour guide picking us up, and we're in a Mercedes van. His name was Carl. He was great. I mean, he was the highlight of my trip. And so he took us to Newschfeinstien, to the castle. So, and they took us everywhere. He took us to Liechtenstein. There was a king at the end of the 1800s. It was King Ludwig, and he was definitely autistic, very brilliant, but they thought he was crazy. So, and him and his doctor ended up drowning in this lake. He brought us to where he was drowned. It looked like he could walk across the lake. So he was probably murdered.
One of those drownings, one of those European political
because everyone
drownings.
knows that you always drown in twos.
Right.
And commit suicide in twos.
In knee-high water.
Yeah, that's so.
You so you were in Germany for how long before you go to Rome?
So we landed Friday, did Saturday, was like the whole day. Sunday at 1:30 we were flying to Rome.
Okay.
So it was a quick turnaround. And you get to Newschfeinstien, and at the bottom of the hill they have like horse and buggies.
Right.
And they're big ass horses. I don't know if they're not Clydesdales, but they're some breed that's of that kind of stature. Big, big ass horses. And but they only take you up to like so far, and they turn around, because at that point it's between 19 and 22% incline, and it's probably a half a kilometer at least. And I mean it's cold.
Yeah.
And to say I felt every one of my injuries. And then when you get there, there's spiral staircases to take you up to. There's only 2 floors that you can view, and it's all spiral staircases, and it's just like, ugh. And of course, my feet are too big for the steps, and then of course going down is much easier. Everyone knows that a 20% incline equals a 20% decline on the way back.
Right.
So I mean, my knees are just shearing. So yeah, and it pissed on us. It was 50 degrees, so thus my voice.
Yeah. You got nailed.
Yeah.
You got railed. Did you now? You don't even unpack, right? Once you get in Friday, you're leaving Sunday. Do you even take anything out of your bag?
I took out what I was gonna wear on the plane the next day,
right,
and hung that up so it wouldn't be wrinkled.
So you flew down to them because you can don't like the trains connect all
Not
through
anymore.
Europe too?
The last time we were going to do the trip, we were going to leave at nighttime, and then basically go through we would have went through the Alps, and like at 8 o'clock in the morning we would have got into Rome.
Right. There's the route we're looking at there that you would have done.
But the Italian the Italian railways are under a bunch of construction because they're going higher speed. I think in maybe June 1st or something like that, they're gonna do a Rome to Berlin fast track. So,
Kev, if you'd have, I hope you packed your perfect jean, because that would have been perfect even for the flight. They're so comfortable, of course, as we all know, and they have that stretchy quality to them. So it's almost like an athletic jean, but it's jean, it's denim. It looks fly. You out there listening and watching, you could do the same for your travel this summer. You know those khakis you have in your closet, the ones you grab when you have to like look nice, but you really just want to get them off as soon as possible. They're not designed for someone who's got to kind of sit on a plane for however many hours, then on top of that hit the backyard barbecue, or still look good enough to put a polo over and rock for something somewhat formal. The perfect jean, okay? It's the holy grail of pants, stretchy enough to bend down and do whatever you got to do without fear of splitting a seam. And they're so comfortable you're going to forget you're even wearing work pants. They're seriously stylish. Days off, listen, you can flex them too. Throw on a nice tee and go out in your perfect jean. Over 30,000 men have rated the perfect jean 5 stars because you should never have to sacrifice comfort and style. 3 fits, 5 washes, waist sizes from 26 to 50, and lengths from 26 to 36, giving you over 1,500 combinations to find the perfect pair for whether you're doing client days or playing 18 holes or flying to Berlin. For a limited time, our listeners getting 15% off your first order, plus the free shipping that they promise you if you go to theperfectjean.nyc. Okay, The Perfect Jean. Use code KLIQ15 for that 15% off, okay? KLIQ 15. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc. Our listeners get that 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, free exchanges when you use the code KLIQ15 at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers. Go check them out, theperfectjean.nyc, KLIQ15. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Support our show. Tell them we sent you. Fuck those khakis, baby. Get the perfect jean. Thank you, Perfect Jean, for believing in us. Now, Kev, you may have been at the Newschfeinstien, but I ran into Rob Feinstein this past week. I ran to a convention, and Eric wanted me to say hello. Eric Bischoff was there,
Sweet.
so I spent a little time with him. He's always got a shout out for you. Let's see, Al Snow talked to for a little bit, and I got to tell you that whole world. You've got the big conventions, right? You got like the big ones that pop up throughout. But that whole like middle echelon, it's a challenged market right now. I don't know if it's an economy thing or I hadn't been to a wrestling convention in a while, so I was surprised that there wasn't a more robust turnout.
Who was the headliner?
I think that might have been part of the problem. The people I saw, I don't know who was advertised. The people I saw Mark Henry, Al, Eric, Headbangers were there, Dan Severin, Ron Simmons. Trying to think. Sandman and Fonzie and Todd Gordon. Not Sting. Not Nash. So, might have just been a B show, as we'll call it. All right, get me to Rome, brother. Let's see. You get down to Rome now.
Get to Rome.
A holy event happened while you were there, and I was thinking about you the whole time.
Conclave.
Yes, and not only that, but you got a new pope while you were in Rome. Which is amazing. How many people can say that in their lifetime? You saw the damn smoke.
And not only that, but an American pope. Right. I knew something was up because the night that Tamara and I ate dinner at the Pantheon, we sat down and there was a guy doing cover music out in the middle of the square by the fountain. And the first song he sang was An Englishman in New York by Sting. And I figured like American Pope, that kind of fit. So
appropriate. That's cool. You catered the set to what was going down.
Yeah, he knew what was happening.
Was there a kind of a palpable electricity in the city that day, or am I just being romantic?
Well, I mean,
about
like
this whole thing?
There are in Rome proper, there are 900 plus churches. And in the ancient Rome, there's 365 or something like that. So imagine, any of those that were Catholic were ringing their bells. So it was something.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it was. So.
What'd you eat? Let's talk food. That's my favorite thing when we talk Rome. We got to talk food.
We stayed at it was a Marriott. It was their, it was called the Pantheon Iconic, the Iconic Collection. And I think it's one of the only hotels in Rome in that area, that ancient area, that has a rooftop. So that was kind of chill. Great breakfast every morning. They had me a nice big platter of smoked salmon every morning. So I get my omegas and eggs to order.
See, the Italians don't really do breakfast. So that's when the Americans come, they know we love breakfast. So it's very much the American breakfast.
That's why you stay at a Marriott.
And I was at a Westin, and they had an incredible American breakfast at the top floor. See the whole city of Rome while you have your eggs and everything. They laugh quietly under their breath, perhaps, of the Americans loading their buffet plates at the incredible American breakfast. Yeah, I'm down with you with that.
We stayed at a Marriott City Sitter in Munich, and they had a great breakfast.
Yeah.
Same thing, smoked salmon, mucilage. Get your fiber.
Yeah, you did all the requisite. You did
everything.
Coliseum. You did the
Coliseum, Forum, Trevi Fountain, Pantheon. Which kind of is chill as, it's kind of pricey, but you can take golf cart tours, and you can do it like 3, 4, 5 hours, whatever you want. So Tamara and I took one on Friday, and it was really good. The kid was local, he grew up in Rome, but he took us. I've seen the front gates to Rome, the ancient original gates that if you were to come to Rome back in the day, that was the gates that you came in through. And there's a sphere there that they had taken from the Egyptians that's in the middle of that square. And then there's 3 distinct streets. And it was set up that each one of those streets you would take, and it would take you to one of the three major basilicas. So that was kind of like the map quest, I guess, back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, so that was kind of chill. It's, I've been there a bunch of times, so there wasn't a whole lot of things that I had never seen before. It's weird because it just, everything seems dirty. Like everywhere you, not Germany, like Germany's impeccable, but like I just thought it kind of felt dirty.
Well, Rome's a city, so you may have a little bit of...
Yeah, there's 4 million people in Rome.
Yeah. We did a cool thing at night in the Forum. They, you line up when the sun goes down, you get tickets for it, and they have projections in the Forum. So when it gets dark, you walk through and they simulate like candlelight, and like the walls light up with projection, and it's like activity as if it was an active forum still. So you put on the headphones in your language and you're listening to what this part of the forum would have been for discussing trade or whatever, and you look and like the wall becomes an arch, and there's people in togas and period outfits walking around, and that was a very unique experience. Also a very funny thing, while we were waiting to go into that for like our time, whatever it was, 9:30, whatever, after it was dark, we hear music in a little square, little area next to the, next to the forum. There's that big, it's some kind of state building, maybe I don't know if it's a federal or Rome or whatever, but it's very grand. And right next to that, we hear some music. So we go over, it's a fucking mariachi band. I'm in Rome. And a mariachi band has begun playing, complete with the sombreros and everything. And everyone's very excited about that. And it was very off-putting for a minute. I thought I had taken too many gummies. I'm looking at a mariachi band in Rome. But if you're in Rome all the time, if you're a native, then it's a special thing when the mariachi band pops up. Kev, how was the flight home?
It was home. I mean, I was going home. I was in heaven.
Yeah.
The plane they bought, Delta had bought it from some, God, what was the name of the airline? Like, it was some airline that they bought it from. The plane was the shits. It was the exact opposite of the first flight. Like the seat was great, and I could put my feet straight out and on this like bench thing that was across from me. The only thing was that the TV was, the screen needed to be like twice the size, to be that far away from it. But
right,
I was at the point I was so cracked that, because you can't bring, you can't bring any cannabis or anything. So
did you do some wine?
I had a glass. I actually had a couple glasses of wine one night with Tamara. But to me, like, it's like dessert. Like I'm not gonna, I'll drink a couple glasses. I think that's more like I had a glass of wine on her birthday. So it's just, that was kind of a special night. So I had a couple glasses of wine.
Nice.
And the fact that they had like a really good bottle of wine in their, so.
Do you like European wines?
Yeah, I mean, the Italians make great wine.
Mm-hmm.
The French make great wines. Yeah.
Some feedback from last week's show. You know how many people thought you really took a phone call and walked away from the
I saw something. I saw something on. It was two guys that do a show, and they were talking about different situations, and they're like, yeah, and you know that like Hunter's calling him up, telling him like, put this story out there, and you know, so over the Rock thing, and you know they're still up to their old shit, man, holding people down. I'm thinking to myself like, are you fucking kidding me?
Unbelievable.
Like,
unbelievable. Yeah, that was shot a week apart, guys, the Kevin segment, because he was away. And then we connected it to the last segment, knuckleheads. Anyway, Chapter 2, Unit 4 says, I enjoy the way Nash and Oliver, quote-unquote, review Raw, just hitting the interesting points. Other podcasts will actually attempt move-by-move breakdowns of matches. Yawn. Say what you want to about Nash, but his experience and smarts to the business reign true today. Kevin, I would not be sitting here with you if you wanted to do a move-by-move. And I don't think you'd be sitting here with me if anyone wanted us to do a move-by-move.
I don't think that when we decided we're going to do this together that we said like, let's kind of do like Major League Baseball, but like on a radio and just a pitch for pitch.
The Tim Malcolm. Still to this day, many 1099 entertainers have to sign 3- and 5-year deals. They are still getting away with it. It's mind-boggling that the restrictions on independent contractors continue. I don't know how for so many years the whole industry, the majors in the industry,
because
have not been held accountable.
Because the people fucking let them. The talent lets them. I didn't let it.
Yeah, they kind of do.
Well,
There have been lawsuits that haven't gone anywhere. Like Raven was part of a class action suit against WWE for it. I think the statute, he told me on one of my shows, I can't remember. I think the statute of limitations ended up running out for that kind of suit.
Well, what would they be suing about?
That they were restricted from making money elsewhere while they were working in WWE. We were prevented as a non-employee.
So how many? If you're on a film, how many other films can you do?
Well, but on a movie, you're W-2. We get our taxes taken out, and they pay us as a short-term employee, but we're W-2'd. You know, you get your deductions on that. Your withholding, I mean, not deductions. They withhold your taxes, and
do they?
That's a different ballgame. Yeah, all your movies. Look at your checks.
I've signed deals before.
Oh, but hold on. But you use your production company though, right? That's all right. So that's a different ballgame. All right.
Exactly.
But if you were there as Kevin Nash, you'd be
no.
W-2.
I'm there. I'm working for Kevin Nash.
Right. Bay Giant 89. Really enjoyed Sean's stories about his casting experiences. Also, get Steve on air more often. I found it very cool to know this project was in the works since 2018. I always wondered if the seed was planted way back since the kayfabe days, or was it done spontaneously. Glad it came to fruition, and I enjoy tuning in weekly. Keep going, fellas. I did find that, Kevin. I found I mentioned this. I found a notebook, a pad that I took out. I always keep my project pads because I never know when something's going to resurface. So I'll pull it out. And I was on a flight, and it was 2018, January 2018. And I started putting together ideas for this show because you had texted me one of those Kevin Nash texts that anyone you've worked with in the business that's close enough to you gets at about 2:47 in the morning. That's just something like, podcast, you and me, talk tomorrow. So I started putting ideas down. So that was the first time we talked. So I did actually get a date on that, 2018. Then you did like 50 movies. You were away all the time. And oh, speaking of which, I got an email from your agent, or a text, I think, very proudly showing me a headline in Deadline announcing, drumroll please, tell us.
I'm going to do a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is, I can't remember if you teased this on air or not, or you were telling us off air.
I told you guys off here.
There it is.
Yep.
And she wanted me to see that in the press release portion she wrote, she put host of Kliq This, Kevin Nash, will be blah, 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 somewhere in the body of the article. So I thanked her very much for that. It was very nice that she did that.
She's a good agent.
So, Kev, do we have a schedule yet?
I know we're shooting Syracuse. I think I only shoot 6 days. I think I've got 6 working days.
Okay.
Which nowadays on a project is significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shooting a video, they fly, man.
Yeah. They but I just got the newest script, and then I went to print it today, and the cartridge is dead. So I was just like, ugh. I said, well, it's, I don't think it will go. I don't think I'll work before the 28th of June.
All right.
So,
well, keep us posted. We want to be the first to see it. Advanced screener copies, if you could, please. And yes, Steve. Props to Steve. Steve holding it down with me last week for the last segment. Keeping things moving here at Kliq This. Matt Armstrong also says, well, mind blown. I imagine Steve to be in his early 20s based on his voice. I guess you shattered his dreams, Steve, when you popped up on camera and showed yourself to be the guy that was wheeling Nash's silver Toomey bag away. David McCutcheon, my favorite female rock vocalist might be Debbie Harry. Talk about a range of genres. Her singing, not rapping, on Rapture is as fine of a rock performance as you'll ever hear, in my opinion. That was one of the questions last week, Kev, in the Ask Sean, hashtag Ask Sean segment. Favorite rock female singer. So I'm going to give it to you today. Which female did you enjoy listening to? I went with Benatar.
I would go Benatar and Stevie Nicks.
That's funny. Somebody mentioned Stevie Nicks. I gave props to that, but I like Christine McVie also in Fleetwood Mac. The smoothness of her voice. Red Air Dell, cannot believe that we just lost Sabu. Hopefully this show has some stories about him. Sabu was such a unique guy as a person in this business. I mean, this is a business loaded with, from my experiences anyway, Kevin, you can feel free to correct me, but it's a business that breeds a lot of paranoia at times. You got to be kind of crafty to keep your head above water and make a career out of it. You got to be a little bloodthirsty too. And Sabu was just consistently just like such a quiet, kind of took the back seat with things and was hurt when promoters did him wrong. I mean, to tears in a couple of my shows talking about things Paulie had done in ECW. Was so affected by things. Very talented, but just such a quiet, backward personality. Yeah.
Yeah, and he lived the life. I mean, that's what he was. I mean, he was a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
That's what he was, man. He was a pro wrestler. And one of the, I mean, just, he is one of the people in this business that you never will hear somebody say a bad word about. He was that kind of a human.
Yeah.
I had, not a lot of time with him, but enough time that I got to know him. And he was with Melissa Coates for a while, and I knew Melissa. And he was just always the same. You know, I've never heard him raise his voice. Just.
That's funny you say that. In the interview that's on the Best of the KC Vault right now for free, Breaking Kayfabe with Sabu, I asked him, I said, do you ever yell? Like I said, I can't, you're always so even, I can't picture you ever yelling. He goes, oh, well, sometimes. He says, if I get mad, yeah. But, yeah, he on that, he also talks about, because I'm fascinated by the wrestling family, people who have like a couple of generations going, and like what that was like to live in a home like that. So when I'd have a Larry Hennig on or Greg Gagne or whatever, I would always ask a ton of questions about that. So he said that his uncle, who was referred to as Sheik by everyone when they were little kids, he was Sheik. Yeah. His Aunt Joyce, Sheik's wife, would talk to him in Carney. She spoke fucking Carney, and they were talking in the kitchen, would talk Carney when they didn't want the kids to hear anything. Whoever was like in town working for him that week would stay. He had a very big estate, and he would stay over. So like if Bobo Brazil was over, but they wouldn't eat together. Like Bobo would be eating in the living room. Sheik would go in another room, and they wouldn't talk to each other the whole time. I said, just baby faces or heels too? He said, no, heels too. Anybody that was there, any wrestlers, they just didn't associate. Like he let them know anything in here is yours. Take what you want, and they just did not talk business in the event that one of the kids would be in the room. Just such a different time and fascinating.
Yeah.
That was your hometown broadcast, right?
Yeah. Big time wrestling, Detroit.
The Pampuro Furpos of the day. And
Dick the Bruiser, Bobo.
Bobo, yeah.
Igor.
Was it, what was was it a Saturday show? What was what day
Saturdays,
was it?
yeah. And then they ran, early, they ran Olympia, which was a straight up, it was like, it was where the Red Wings played. And then later on, they ran, when they ran actual shows, they ran Kobo.
So what was the Olympia? That was where they did TV tapings, or that's where the house shows
they
were?
did TV tapings, and it was it looked like Memphis.
In a small, a studio taping. Yeah.
I remember this is when people say I've said this before, but they say he couldn't work, and like my favorite when I was a little kid was Moose Chodlak.
You've told me this with the fucking thing.
With the big moose, and he'd be like 6'7", 6'8", whatever he was. But, he was like Ox Baker. People would always say, I think Dutch Mantel told me a story one time. He said that, that Ox Baker could talk him in the building. And he said, that's all you needed, because once he started to work, he said, you could get him to pay twice to get the fuck out of there. So... yeah.
Listen, anyone with headgear is immediately over. Wasn't that a Cornette saying? Oh no, that's anyone in a box is over. Anyway, close enough. Yeah, so I was dismayed to hear about Sabu. That last thing that I saw him work.
Wow.
I think I don't know if we talked about it on the air or off the air, but I didn't like watching it. I was disturbed.
No.
It was not the same
that
Sabu risk taking that we were used to.
That crash that he took on that cement floor was just.
Yeah. No, as
but
of
I mean,
this
I tell you, man, it just lived and died by the sword. I mean, it's just that guy did. There was no such thing as taking the night off.
No. And in this interview, the Breaking Kayfabe with Sabu, now at the Best of the KC Vault on YouTube, I say to him, you will be content to die in a ring, won't you? And he said it would be the most honorable way to go. He said, whatever you do. He said, if you're an athlete on a field, he said, what better a way than to go out sacrificing for what you love? And he was very much never wanted to stop. I was encouraging him to stop in this interview. I said, it's about enough.
I think that from a boy's standpoint, I think that he has a lot of admiration from and respect from all the boys because he left it all out there.
Yeah.
There's certain guys, man, like, and I tip my hat to Mick Foley. Guys like Mick that just, they gave it everything they had for as long as they could.
Yeah. But the toll is real, man. We as fans, we see the 15 minutes they give us on television. We don't see what it's like to get up in the morning.
Oh, fuck.
Watch these guys, you guys, get up to take a piss and,
Like I say, I know how bad I feel every day. And I mean, some days I feel, some days I feel good. But I was a thrower. I wasn't a throwee. I was picking up people and tossing them.
You were top, Baba.
Yeah, I was a power top.
Exactly.
So I mean, but I tried, man. Like besides with Paul, when I dropped him on his head, it sold out in Dayton. That was the only time that to this day I thank God that I didn't hurt him. But I tried to develop a power bomb that was safe, as safe as possible. I didn't want to throw somebody down as hard as I could where they had no choice but their knees go on each side of their head. Like I tried to make it as safe as possible. So
throw them out so that they can go flat back.
Yeah, I tried to let them out, but then make the motion once you got them to the height, create the motion that you were fucking using force, because it's so quick.
Oh, so this is interesting. So when you've got them suspended,
you turn them, and
right.
now they're flat. So when they're flat, you just move your hands like
move
that.
The hands, but you're really just releasing them.
And they're already on their way down by gravity.
Okay.
So.
All right, I'm ready to do a fucking jackknife. Just got to find someone small enough to do it.
I just said gravity, and all of a sudden I heard John Mayer singing in my ear. Gravity. So.
Kev, it's time to remind everyone. Let me put this over my thing there. About BRUNT, our friends at BRUNT. I have a pair of BRUNT boots that I love. Black with the white stitching. I've showed them on air here before. And if you go to BRUNT, workwear.com/Kliq, you're going to get that 10% off. That you see on the screen there. But let me tell you that it's so much more than boots, my friends. I love my BRUNT boots, but founder Eric Gerard grew up a blue collar, but started BRUNT after his friends in the trades encouraged him to start a workwear brand that was built for them. And he did so, okay? These might be the most comfortable work boots in the world. I mean, and they're stylish. You can pick the ones you want, and you could customize the toe. You can go for the hard toe. I did not. I will not be lifting masonry with these, but you could. They deliver performance on the job, whether you need the waterproof safety toe or soft toe, pull on, lace up. They've got you covered. All right, they're so confident these boots are going to blow you away. They'll even let you try them on the job, risk-free. Okay. This hat I have here is also a BRUNT hat. It's not just work boots, like I said, okay? It's important to know they have a full range of high-performance gear built for tough jobs, okay? Heavy-duty work pants, weather-resistant jackets. BRUNT designs durable, reliable workwear to keep you protected and productive, really, in any condition. And they reinvented comfort for the hardest workers out there. So for a limited time, our listeners get $10 off BRUNT by using the code KLIQ. That's Kliq. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code Kliq and you're all set. Okay. If they ask you where they heard about you, where you heard about them, you're going to tell them us. Kliq This. Thank you, Brunt.
This one's on the right. Look like you could curb stomp somebody nicely with them.
Hell yeah. Wear that to CBGB's for a Husker Du set. Not that Bob would advocate for any of that. You could also go to kliqthistv.com if you want to be part of the action here. The folks that come in, watch the show, watch the pre-show, ask Kevin some questions coming up in a little while. Go to kliqthistv.com and do that. And I think kliqthishop.com is now open. We had some questions last week about the old place that used to do the merch, and some people are having a hard time finding it. It's apparently not there anymore. So Dom, in his heroic save the day mode, said, Sean, Kev, I'm going to set up a site. We're going to run it. We're going to do our own merch. So he's operating kliqthishop.com. Got some new designs there, some of the old designs that you know and love from the Kliq This show. So go check that out. Kevin, I watched Raw this week.
As I did.
With the expectation that I would see the furtherment of the Cody Rhodes story. His story's not finished. Got to find out what's going on with that belt. And I think I missed that part of Raw, Kev. What's going on? Why can't I get me some Cody?
I can't answer. I don't know where Cody's at.
I had a production question for you. Is this the first week? I noticed this week. I think it was the ladies' match where I noticed this. Are they blacking out the crowd again? It looks like that they're just lighting the ring, and they used to be a very big emphasis on lighting the crowd. That started in the...
No, but they did the beauty shot of that in Louisville. There was areas that were lit.
There are for the entrances. They are for those shots for the masters. The bumpers in and out of commercial, but for the matches, they're blacking out. I think, unless there was a problem there.
I think it goes from building to building.
It could, but I mean, those
that building is.
Okay, so now obviously not there, but I think that was at the Bell, so house lights come up.
Yeah.
I don't know. And there it appears dark. So that's cool. I like that. That's but there's so much emphasis on the audience participation now. So I don't know. Your choice.
I didn't. So when they when Braun joined Rollins and Paul, I thought that he was going to be kind of a Lesnar, like they were going to kind of give him that kind of a direction.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
And then I didn't think that he would be going toe to toe with Sami Zayn. So
this whole segment, Punk and
Jay. Let me start out. So
yeah,
Braun gets Punk in the corner and gives him 8 of the best looking work shots. I mean, they looked spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And as a baby face, man, please beat me down like that. Give me a reason to sell. But what I'm noticing more and more is nobody sells. Everybody registers. They register what's happening to them, but then it's a turnaround, and it's like nobody sells.
Yeah,
Sean,
tell me the difference.
Registering is just like this. We're selling as like you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're curling up in a ball.
When you were working, did you have to work somebody through that ever, talking about selling and taking time, and that you should take some time, and even if you're on the offense, maybe turn around and
I can remember
check your face?
a specific time
Uh-huh.
when I was working with Dallas, and I would do something, I'd cut him off, and I would just tell him, I said, like, just sell till I come back to you.
Mm.
And then when later on he said, I think I feel like I'm down too long, and Dallas used to tape his matches, and I said, let's watch it back, and then he watched it back, and while he was down, I was in the corner, like checking my note, like I was selling what he had given me.
Right.
So then when he saw that, he goes, "Oh, I didn't realize." I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's our match, you know, like, and you can do like if you take AJ and Balor, the
Right,
match
this
that they
week,
had
yeah.
on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
There was times when they register and times when they sell. I mean, I thought that was an excellent match. I really enjoyed watching that. I've actually watched it twice. I've always been a huge fan of both those guys. I've never got a chance to work with Finn, but I got a chance to. I was blessed to be in the ring with AJ. AJ's shit looks so on. You know, when he hits that top rope flying elbow, that looked like it crushes you. And so, I mean, but then you've got, and Wes told me, because I asked Wes beforehand, but I just watched the match again maybe a month ago, and I think it was 2023. It was Osprey and Omega. And
The forbidden door, behind the green door.
Behind the green door. Harry Reeves was was a special guest referee.
When his prick got color, I was so impressed.
Nothing like a bleeding urethra.
Mm.
But their style is they can't sell. They can only register, because if they were to sell, it would stop the flow of what they do, because it goes from spot to spot to spot to spot. Like, you know, it's a completely different style of work. I don't particularly care for it as a whole, but when it's done by guys of that caliber, which I think they're probably, you know, I've always been a huge Kenny fan, and Osprey is a very close second, you know, in that genre of I call it today's style.
But isn't a drop like that? Shouldn't you have a drop like that after the car chase in the movie? Like, the car chase goes on, and maybe it's a 7-minute car chase, but then it's got to come down.
But I have a problem when I'm watching the opening segment, and it ends with the three baby faces in the ring, each one with a steel chair in their hands, and they're against the two heels.
And the heels are outside.
Heels are outside. They're outnumbered. The baby faces have steel chairs. And if I know the wrestling, but I don't know these characters, and you were to tell me or ask me who's the baby face, who's the heels, I said, well, obviously it's the heels are
the guys cheating with the chairs.
Now, because if it was two guys back to back with chairs, and there was 9 guys around the ring, I understand why they got chairs.
Right.
You know, unless Heyman's going to hit a 690 spinning spinning star press from the turnbuckle behind him and just,
But from a storytelling standpoint, I just want to stay on that. Having the 3 against 2, when it's the baby faces that are the 3 and the 2, it's kind of backwards, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was to me. And then McAvey came out like 25 minutes into the show. That felt weird. Like he
did a thing where he had to be cleared medically, but that's obviously
well, of course.
There was no doctor there at noon.
It's not like the guy's not super busy. I say kudos to Pat. I thought his work at Backlash, I loved it because it didn't feel contrived. It didn't feel like it was a work. He was throwing body shots because he knew he couldn't throw effective working punches to the head without potatoing Gunter. I thought they had a good match. I thought they had a solid match. I thought I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely a fan of his. I just didn't like, and he kind of came down, and it was kind of like to get his flowers to the fans, but like he just kind of aw-shucked it. Like he was way more emotional and fired up when he made them. I don't know. Maybe I was jet lagged. Maybe it just everything was just kind of landing on me fucking sideways. But then the main event was Rhea.
She tagged with Io Sky against Roxanne
and the Lollipop
Perez,
Kids.
And the Lollipop Guild was in the ring hitting the bottom rope.
And it's just like, it seemed to me that Rhea it was Saturday. Mom went to get her hair done, and Dad was wrestling with the 3 boys on the king-size bed, throwing them around and making sure he didn't hurt anybody. I mean, it's just like Rhea's so athletic. Rhea looks like she could go against probably 50% of the male roster.
100%. I wrote a note that said she can work the men's division. And so, all right. So, but they book a match like this, right? This is what's going out there. Shouldn't they have written that or booked that as like a big man match? Like when Andre would have to fight off.
But she's not. That's not her style. Trying to chop her down.
No, but in that with those people, if she's in there with.
See, I think the psychology is you let Io sell, and you let me make Rhea just keep coming out on top, where they double team to chop her down.
Right.
And then at the end when Rhea gets the win and Io goes to if somehow the belt would have they stood there and they had the belt between them, and Rhea kind of looked at the belt and then looked at her. And it's just like, she's so super over.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea is,
She's super over. She's super everything. It's just such a different.
She's such a star, man.
Yeah, she's just. It's tough to put her in the ring. Although Bianca, I think, someone like Bianca or.
I think Jade.
Jax.
I think Jade will get there. I think she's she's just still green, but she's improving vastly.
Mm-hmm.
There is some. I just she's like I said a long time ago on this show that there's so few people that sell, and Rhea can sell. Like Rhea knows how to sell.
Yeah.
So.
The other thing too is, I'm calling it a big man style, maybe for lack of a more efficient term in wrestler speak, but a kick from Rhea to one of her opponents in this particular match should feel differently and be sold differently than a kick like from Roxanne to Rhea, right? All things are not equal.
No.
And I think that psychology has to creep in.
But it's so hard because if you give the people what they want, which is Rhea's the champion, then she's almost in a Roman spot. She's gonna have the thing for 4 fucking years, you know. Like it's just it's that kind of situation where you've got to, in order to elevate, like you can use her to elevate, and she does, but and maybe I'm just a mark for her. You know, maybe I'm a mark for her and for her work, her look. You know, it's
all right.
And I'm not like an
Deserved.
ink guy. Like I'm not an ink guy.
Right.
I'm kind of, that's not my gig, but like she pulls everything off.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, when I met her at SummerSlam, well, I mean, I met her before, but when I saw her at SummerSlam,
yes,
and she was just with no makeup on and everything. She's quiet and she's really chill, and she's, you know, I always, a star to me is like I remember when I was a mark and went down to Joe Louis and I saw Hogan work, and I swore Hogan was 6'9", because he was just bigger than life, his charisma, everything else. And then when I finally met him, he was, you know, it wasn't anywhere near that size. It's the same thing with Rhea. I thought Rhea was like 6 foot, 185-pound girl, and she's probably 5'7".
right.
You know, she's just, but on TV, the way she moves, you know, she comes across as bigger than life,
Yeah.
which stars do, you know.
Yeah, across all genres too. You know,
Right.
Stallone's a tiny guy, supposedly. Tom Cruise, they say, is small too. You worked with him. Is he small?
Yeah, Tom's, but you know, you don't, like, you walk into a room and you look at him and he's small, but he's fucking a movie. I mean, he's a star.
He's a magnetic personality, for sure.
He's a
but it's
fucking
meant in
star.
stature.
Yeah, he's just, and he's so prepared. And every take is spot on.
Just don't look at him in the eye.
Did you? It was. I think it was Adam that sent me a clip, and it was Scorsese, and it was that Catch Me If You Can. It was the movie.
With DiCaprio?
Yeah, with DiCaprio. Yeah. And remember, his dad was Christopher Walken.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed Walken goes over to Scorsese. Scorsese directed that, correct? Catch Me If You Can.
I don't
Steve?
know. I
Spielberg. Okay, it was Spielberg. And so they were talking to Spielberg, and he says to him, "I'm going to give you 3 different takes, completely different." And they showed each one of them, and it was the dialogue he has is when he first laid eyes on his wife, who was DiCaprio's mom, and the last time he comes to tears when he's telling the story, especially when he first lays eyes on her, and it was just the brilliance of those 3 takes, like just one after another, and it's just you either have that or you don't. That's to me, that's so innate.
Walken's another cat with a very he's got an intensity, you know, that transfers to the lens. You can't put it into words why the camera loves some people. It's a cruelty, but it's a reality that for some reason it loves people more than others. People translate just better. Funny story about walking. Somebody I knew was in a scene with him, and I was working a scene that he was in, and it was in a hospital, and so the person's in the bed and Walken's talking to them. I don't remember the film, but I guess Chris started working on an apple from catering early in the day, and they were in this one location all day in the hospital, and 7-8 hours later, they're doing the scene. And the turnaround, it's over. Walken's point of view, so it's the person in the bed now. And during the scene, he pulls out the now brown, nearly rancid, half-eaten apple that he shoved in his pocket from, just get another apple. And begins to eat it during the take. It was noteworthy. What he should have done is pulled out a Get Blitzed mixer powered by Kliq This and pounded one of those. And he would have enjoyed it. The high spot of the show, brought to you as always by Mickey Ray and Courtney. Kev, they're getting hitched this year, by the way. Keep your eyes open for an invitation. I don't know if you'll be in Maryland anytime soon, but if you are, we can go. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Get Blitzed. They have the BLITZED, which is the nano-infused Delta-9 THC sip-and syrup that you're seeing right there, that you can teaspoon into your favorite beverage. And the gift of nano-infused, which means fast onset, 5 to 15 minutes, kind of like alcohol. Teaspoon's all you need to get the flavor and to get where you want to go. But, if you go to the website now, which is get-blitzed.com, don't forget you 15% off when you use the promo code Kliq, Kliq. You can enjoy the Get Blitzed BLITZED mixers in cans, Kev's Key Lime, Sean's Blue Raz, shipping in packs of 4 or single cans. Check it out. If you're in Maryland, you can check out a Stay Lit Smoke Shop and get it right in there. But for the rest of us, it's legal to ship from the Get Blitzed website to almost all 50 states without a med card, as long as you're over 21. And right now, save that 15% off by entering the code Kliq, Kliq at checkout. Go to get-blitzed.com. That's get-blitzed.com and try either the Delta-9 THC sip and syrup or get those mixers, the Kliq This mixers. They are delicious. The guy, Trent, our friend Trent, that was running the production line at the manufacturing facility, he was making 7 THC beverages at the time. He said ours was clearly the best tasting. Go check it out, guys. Get-blitzed.com. Go on social. Send us a picture.
Where are we at on getting it on some store shelves?
All right, I gotta ask you. I'll talk to you off the air about your friend, the guy, your best friend, the distributor. I don't know his name. He's the guy that you knew that was working with Mickey Ray. I'll ask you a question later. I guess he's not with I guess he left that company. So.
Oh, well.
So we'll see where he lands. But check it out, guys. Go to get-blitzed.com and check it out. And tell your favorite smoke shop or even alcoholic beverage outlet, if they do sell the hemp-derived mixers that get blitzed. Kliq This cans should be on their shelf. All right. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about also, Kevin? I'm talking about Florida Man, Jersey guy. We had a listener play this last week in your place. I think it might have been Ivan Garcia. Ivan, was it you? You lost. You lost terribly. You got creamed. You were destroyed. But he played last week in your place. 2 headlines, one a Florida Man, one a Jersey guy's activity, and Kev will try to discern which is which just from hearing the behaviors. First one. Man arrested for sexually assaulting 6-year-old girl at home prayer meeting. Second headline. Man accused of planning mass shooting agrees to give up guns for 1 year. Assaulting the minor.
First one's Jersey, second one's Florida.
Yes, it is. Oh, no.
It's too hard to get guns in Jersey.
But you can.
Yeah, but it's not to the point where you give up guns.
And they'd let you just do it for a year. And be like, oh,
Yeah,
he'll be all
exactly.
right after that.
Yeah, just guns.
The hell.
But everybody's got a shoebox of guns.
Let me go to that. I don't even want to give fucking any airtime to the other monster. Let me look at the
Yeah, I don't want to.
Florida man here. Yeah, accused of planning mass shooting agrees to give up guns for a year. This is West Palm Beach, Florida. A Loxahatchee. Did I say that correctly? A Loxahatchee man.
There's so many Indian names down there. It's just
Accused of plotting a mass shooting has now agreed to surrender his firearms for a full year under Florida's red flag law. You know how people change. In a year, he looks like he'll be fine. Look at him. He'll be fine in a year. He just needs
looks
a
like
year
the
to think
fucking
about
Zodiac killer.
Damian Blade Allen. Says you know he's got a little Richard Ramirez. Remember the Night Stalker?
That's what I meant.
Richard Ramirez. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a little bit of him going. So everyone in Loxahatchee, West Palm area, rest easy. He's given up the guns for a year.
I feel I can't believe I missed on my mass murderers.
You got your murderers mixed
I went with
up.
Zodiac killer, and it was Ramirez. So
You got to get back on Hulu. Start watching some of that creepy shit.
jeez. You know what? I got to say something. So I get up this morning. Now I'm on a completely different schedule now. So I'm up around 8:30. It takes everything I can to stay up for the second basketball game. So I get up this morning and go downstairs and I do my ritual. By the time I get done with everything, the market's getting ready to open.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, let me just go ahead and put on financial. So I put it on. And if you go up one, it's I'm sorry, if I go down one, it's MSNBC. And they're doing the live telecast of the Constitution, with the Supreme
birthright
Court.
citizenship?
Yeah, the birthright
Yeah.
citizenship. And so I'm watching this, and then like Tamara came down, and she had some breakfast, and I had my breakfast, and we decided like it was like if we were going to get some sun, we better go out, and like we try to get a half hour of sun every day just for the vitamin D, and it just makes you feel better. And it was already scalding by the time we got out. So I went back in, took a shower. I had some errands I had to do later on in the day. And I said, let me sit down and see what happened on the news today. Well, when I turned the TV on, it was back on MSNBC. And it was that same damn thing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? They're covering this thing? So I go to CNN. It's doing the same thing. Same feed, same bullshit. And I sat there and so Tamara came down, she goes, what's going on? And I told her, and she goes, and it's been on like for 4 hours. I said, yeah, it's been on all day. And I said, am I wrong? Or wasn't it a 6-3 vote that the Supreme Court basically with a broad stroke gave President Trump immunity of all wrongdoing?
From criminal prosecution while
Right.
serving an
As
act of the presidency. Yeah.
which signing a bill would be something a president could do. And I just sat there and I said, so the Supreme Court people are they basically fucked up, and now they want to argue about it? Like, either rewrite the bill, rewrite the judgment that you made.
The judgment, right.
Yeah, rewrite the judgment that you made on Trump, or fucking shut the fuck up. You can't do both.
Right, because you're saying, like, regardless of what they say, if he decides to, his Congress will put through anything.
What's the recourse? I'm going to put them on a C-130, and I don't care if they were born here or not. They're gone. But Kavanaugh's going to lay in front of the plane. Like, fuck, man, come on, like.
Well, we've already seen with the guy that was deported that they claimed was part of the MS-13 gang. Could think because he wore a Bulls jacket. They've already said he's not coming back, right?
Yeah, he's not coming back.
Despite any court orders or judgments. And you're correctly proposing, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
He's kind of saying to them, I don't think he's coming back. What are you going to do? And really, what are they going to do?
Nothing. You paint yourself in a corner, then you fucking don't want to trade fucking paint around the house. Like, geez, man.
Yeah.
And this is our brilliant minds. 9 fucking justices.
Well,
for life.
At least, right? Yeah. Well, there's that too.
Jesus.
There's the appointment for life.
On the stupidity alone of the predicament they've got themselves into, they should have a fucking 7-week fucking grace period, and then we can get rid of them.
To pack?
Yeah, just get the fuck. We'll put you up at the Super 8 till you find some kind of digs, but you're done.
Yeah.
Had some financial news. The inflation is down.
Yeah, and I think the Dow closed 4th day up, right? I think it's been 4 straight days.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is the stock market has now come to the conclusion that the tariffs really don't have that much of an effect on them.
Well, because and we've learned how to efficiently impose tariffs is you draft them, and then you just don't enforce them. You just don't do anything. So you announce them, you talk about the injustice in trade, and then just say, but it's not going to be 100.
But there's still going to be a 10% tariff across the board, which won't affect supply demand. Probably August, September-ish. By then, if you're Walmart or a large retailer, you'll be able to probably absorb the tariff. If you're a smaller one with your profit margins are too small, you're just not going to import.
Well, you're going to raise prices, number one, to further driving a chasm between you, the small business owner, and Walmart and whoever. I'm just pulling that one because you said it, or Home Depot, whoever. Further separating and making it more difficult for independently owned smaller businesses to compete with those monsters. But maybe not. Maybe if everyone's upset about the 10%, those won't be enforced either, and because that's kind of been the standard operating procedure here. You make the announcement, the big publicity, the big shiny thing we put on. The public rejects it. Other countries reject it and say, well, we're just not going to do business. They do retaliatory tariffs, and then you just say, okay, well, maybe it's not going to be 145% then. So it's made up. Well,
it's like the plane from Qatar. you would basically have to take that plane and just absolutely disassemble it and go through every bolt, everything else, and put it back together. And they're saying that that's a better
For security, you mean that they'd have to fully inspect that, of course.
Yeah, of course. Then you've still got to outfit it with all the diversions and the missile flares, and it's the paint that makes it not go down in a nuclear war. And I mean, and they're saying that how is it even viable when Trump just took the CEO of Boeing over to Saudi Arabia with him? They signed a $93 billion deal for Boeing planes. If that isn't enough to make Boeing drop everything they're doing and build a new Air Force One, why can't he just sign a bill saying they have to do it? If they have to do it, the Supreme Court's going to argue that too?
Yeah.
Put that in their fucking pipe? Jesus. Fucking. As I say, I sit at home, I say to myself, like, I just don't give a fuck anymore. Everybody's so stupid.
Do you need a break?
Huh?
You want to use a break?
No, I'm thinking about fucking if Biden would have won, he would have been in a wheelchair. So Jake Tepper doing a little side work on that book, huh?
Which one? The
one about Biden, about his
where it came out that he
was.
Oh, what did I see the report about?
He didn't know who Clooney was, and
yeah, that was funny. But no, but that what were they keeping from him? Oh, Jesus Christ! I saw the headline today. I don't know. I'd have to look at it again. Was it that?
Hopefully, the keys to his car. After that fucking debate, Jesus. I mean, if anybody that watched the first debate between Trump and Biden, I mean, if there's, you have no argument. You have no fucking. It's just like the next day, fucking Clooney came out with that op-ed. I fucking like immediately followed it with my own tweet. Like, fuck this, man. You got to go, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
it was brutal.
Even Brady fucking had to quit. Like, you're done. Jeez.
All right, back with Kliq This, the Kevin Nash podcast. If you want to have better sex, BLUECHEW's the thing for you. I'm just going to throw it right out there, okay? BLUECHEW, our oldest, steadfast advertiser. Everyone knows what it is now. It's become a household name for men around the world. They're the original brand, offering chewable tablets for better sex. Starting now, BLUECHEW is offering a combo so strong it's going to knock your socks off. I'm talking about BLUECHEW Max. It's arrived. It combines active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable. Okay, it acts fast and lasts. So the key is just to be ready to go when they're ready to go. Okay, it's just a few clicks away. The love here is the process as well. The product is effective, and the process is so easy. You just sign up at BLUECHEW.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, bang! Exactly. You receive your prescription within days. Okay, tablets made in the USA, prepared, shipped directly to your door, discreetly so. Best part is it's all online. No visits to the doctor's office. No even going and picking up the prescription at the pharmacy. It's all done online and shipped right to your door. I want you to make life easier by getting harder. Discover your options at BLUECHEW.com. And as always, we have that special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of BLUECHEW free. When you use the promo code NASH, just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code NASH. Visit BLUECHEW.com for more details and important safety information. We thank BLUECHEW for sponsoring us, as always. And hashtag AskNash is how you get the questions to him we will find you like we did Webstronauts, who says, if Kev and Scott never leave, does Shawn Michaels' problems end up driving a wedge between the Kliq? Since Shawn didn't go to bat for Triple H, is it safe to assume he also may not have had the best interests of the rest of the Kliq at the time? Kev, would he have been so problematic that it eventually would have fractured you guys?
I don't know why everybody, like I said that we were kind of pissed that Shawn didn't protect Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And they take it as he was going to, like, oh, man.
But you've talked before about Shawn's, like, when he heard that you were leaving, when you guys talked about it in the car, I think his comment was, well, you know you're going to be going up against me.
Oh, but he was pissed off because he busted his ass to get us over,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and basically two of his best opponents were getting ready to leave the door.
Mm.
I mean, that's the way Shawn looked at it. Shawn just was looking at it from a standpoint of the company. Like, fuck, man, like you're taking, because Shawn and I had a great match in Omaha
Mm-hmm.
before I left.
Was that the Good Friends
Yeah.
match? Yeah. I remember. Well, I mean, it's one thing to look out for the company. It's
Great
like,
match for me, put it that way.
guys, we got something good here, man. That's one thing. But saying, you know, you guys are going up against me.
Yeah, but that
ratings.
was us, man. That's
just a clicky thing to do.
like, fuck, man. Like, if you can't be a dick to your best friends, like who can you be a dick to?
That's another great T-shirt. Dom, get working on it. Cartoon Canadian picked up Bob Holly's book, Fiction. He tells a tough guy story about how he confronted you, took his finger and made an X on your chin, and said, "That's where I'm going to hit you. You apparently coward. LOL." On the bullshit meter, please rate his story from 1 to 10.
On the bullshit, what 10 being the most
10
bullshit
being a whole lot of more stuff with more shit than a Christmas turkey. To quote
So
Honky Tonk.
your opening match, and you're fucking with the champion, who's also a member of the Kliq. How long do you think he's got a job if he does that?
Reaches over and puts the X on your chin.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
I
finger
actually
would have
asked
touched...
Bob. I actually asked Bob about that. Like years later, we were on some indie show together, and I said, "Where'd you come up with that at?" I said, "That never happened."
That's great.
So
you see, you should do a podcast segment about that whole thing, and then we'll title it "I Confront Bob Holly on His X Story." We'll put it up. We'll get probably 200,000 views in a couple of days.
why? Bob's a nice guy.
I'm just fucking
Bob,
around.
but one of the funniest things is Bob and I never had a fucking problem. Like he was Sid's fucking buddy, and him and Sid fucking trained, and it was like I could see it if you didn't go to the gym, Bob, it had no use for you.
But Bob has. I mean, in reality, maybe everything was fine, but Bob has, and it was on one of our kayfabe commentary shows too. I think I probably played it here when we first got the show on the air. We used to do that, that segment, the stiff one or whatever. And but he does have that narrative where he was he was dedicated to fighting the Kliq. It's kind of become a thing. Whether it happened or not, I don't know.
No, it didn't happen, and to me, it's like to bring up something. To bring up something that's bullshit.
Well, I don't know. He brings it up. I don't know why he brings it up, but he does.
When did this book come out?
I do not know. Peter
I
did.
guarantee it wasn't before I talked to him.
Maybe not. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I like Bob.
Anybody that knows the Kliq knows that if that was a fact, then one of us, I mean, it would have been a sucker punch, and then the other guys would have wiener dogged him.
Right.
I mean,
well, I don't know that he said he threw a punch. He said to, okay, it came out.
the book came out in
1st,
2013.
2013.
I mean, what are you gonna
The hardcore truth.
if you don't? What else is salacious in his book? It's got to be one of his better stories, right?
Probably. It's a good one. It's still talked about. That's what you want, right? You want those chapters that become lore beyond the publication. Peter did.
Maybe we should have Bob on.
In a heartbeat. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
we
Maybe
have
he
Bob
could
on.
the screen. He could reach over and draw the X
For the first time.
Peter D. Hi, Kev. Have you met Drew McIntyre? Is he roughly the same size as Scott Hall was? He appears to have the perfect wrestler's build. Big but not muscle-bound. Thanks. I have met Drew, and I think that's probably accurate, Kev. Kind of has that Scott body, right? Natural, big, not big to the point where he's, so muscle-bound he can't work.
He could be. He was a lot bigger when I met him. First time.
Okay. How about an audience question here? Who's in the house? Members of the KliqThisTV.com 11 Soft Club. Holla. CB. How's Cody Hall? Is he still wrestling? Any chance Cody Hall makes an NXT appearance? Why hasn't he been to WWF or at least AEW? You would think Tony would pay big dollars for him.
Cody got hurt in Japan, broke his neck.
Ooh.
With the Young Bucks. One of the Young Bucks jumped off the fucking balcony and broke his neck. So that's why Cody's not wrestling.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then as he was healing, he was in the hospital with a neck brace on, and Bob Holly came in the room and fucking put an X on his chin. He said, if you fucking think about coming into the business.
I'm gonna hit you right here. Yeah. That's going to be in his second book. Coming soon. Patrick Nevin. A few weeks ago, you said that you've broken your nose several times. Have you thought about getting it fixed to breathe better? Does that affect your olfactory senses when you have a broken nose? Is it scar tissue? Is that what starts to build up?
Who knows? Last thing I want to do is be operated on
again.
Yeah. It's like.
What else we got here? Edgar Watson. Would you ever consider doing theater in a steady role of some sort?
No.
Still think you could play Hades in Hadestown?
I don't want to work. I'm 65. Fuck.
Wouldn't want to do a 3-hour live show every night under the lights and 2 matinees a week?
No. Not enough money.
That's true. Theater's a little rough. All right, wrap me up. Who's got to go into Ace Ramon? Did you and T ever play Metal Slug?
God, that's an old one. Yeah, we had that.
Was a shooter, I assume, Slug?
It was if I remember right, it was kind of like an armored. Was it a tank game, Ace? Like kind of like that kind of a.
Metal Slug.
We had every fucking game that came out. We would go to games. Yeah, I've seen that before. We would go to GameStop and just
fill up your arms with boxes.
Every he had every game on earth.
Good for him.
Fuck yeah.
Kliq This is a production of.
Your dad's going to be on the road.
Yeah, 300 days a year.
least you can do is
make
sure
the 65 nights count with a little metal slug.
Make sure your kids got every fucking game on earth.
Kliq This is a production of Butch and Sundance Media, produced in association with Podcast Heat, created by Tristan Nash, Kevin Nash, and Sean Oliver, producer Steve Kaufman, graphics by Dominic D'Angelo, title sequence and audio edit by Wesley Burleson, theme song by Dale Oliver, technical research by Tristan Nash, copyright 2025 Butch and Sundance Media. Kev, do you want to do another one?
Bob will let me, and I'm dead serious.
Customer service never answers a thing. Let us free to breathe in air we're supposed to breathe. Through twists and turns you've come to love. Never answers a thing. Yeah, the customer service never